G'day guys, Justin here from Gladstone Fine Sport Fishing. Just bringing on a little video on the Garmin Panoptix Livescope setup that we're running on our sports fishing vessel. Guys, look, there's a few questions kicking around and I know there's mixed opinions on how to mount the Livescope transducer. There's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of guys coming up with some pretty cool stuff. Especially in Europe where they can move the mount around the boat. I know Robbie Payne from Rob Payne Engineering has come up with a new mount that it's fixed with a ram bracket that you can utilise that and move it around the vessel anywhere from the front to the back, the sides, it doesn't matter. That's a really cool idea and I like that. But for me, I'm going to stick with the fixed mount, and I'll tell you a few reasons why. I'll go through exactly why I like the fixed mount, and especially given that my sole purpose for this unit is really on Barramundi, in particular impoundment Barramundi, and I'm trying to explain that to you the best I can. So, guys, I use it's an improved Rob Payne Engineering pole on this fixed mount at the back of my vessel, and to be honest with you, the first one we did was probably about 300mm too short. This one just allows us to drop it further into the water, and also has this handle here where I can move that, and that also tells me the direction of the transducer any time. Now the fixed unit, why I like that over the top of the movable unit is transducer cable is not lying on my deck for one. I've got clients on board all the time. People walking around the boat, you're at first light or last light or in the dark. The last thing I want is something else lying on my deck so that people can trip over it. Two, because it's fixed in one position, I know where it is at any one time. So again, with experienced and inexperienced barra anglers on board, the best thing about having it here is that I know where it is. It's like my electric motor at the bow of the vessel. If it's here, I know that if a barra's run around the back of the boat, that's one thing that's going to come into play, but I know it's here. If I've got a movable unit that's gone left and right and front, it could be anywhere at any one time, and that could bring me unstuck. At least I know in the back of my mind it's always here at the port side transom. So the other reason, the main reason I really like the fixed unit is this does everything you need it to, as far as being able to view fish. I know the movable brackets are really good for when you're using the transducer in a down mode. So when you've spun that all the way down and you're using that transducer to beam down so you can get that really good look at, so it's works really good if you use fish in 6 or 8 meters or more of water and you're vertically jigging or you're hopping vibes or plastic straight up and down. That's perfect, but that's not why I got the Livescope, and that's not really how I utilize it the most. Yes, I do use it in that function sometimes, but to be honest with you, barra fishing, I have it in the forward facing mode, and that's where we find we're getting the best quality images and we utilize it the most. So for instance, if I'm cruising down a tree line, on electric, and I've got clients casting into the edge of the trees, and I'm utilizing my side imaging, and I'm going, yep, okay, there's barra in that tree, and that tree, and that tree. The Panoptix can be used exactly the same way, but what it can do is it can really define with its 20-degree beam and pinpoint those fish. For instance, if I was traveling down that tree line, port side, I drop the pole down, swing that round, that handle, so it's pointing, exactly to the port side, and I can see straight away, looking into that tree line, I can see real-time footage of those barra moving about. So rather than just going, okay, so yeah, there's the side imaging, right, there's barra in that tree. This one, this beauty, this real-time footage is going to show me exactly what side of the tree they are. Obviously you've got your metric measurements on your Livescope as well, and that forward-facing motion. So it's going to tell me, yep, 6 meters, you know, just to the left of that single tree there, that's where to cast. So I can get my clients to go rightio and get their cast exactly where it needs to be. If you really want to be accurate, you can get your clients to come, I can get my client to come straight down the back and cast exactly level with that beam line, and you can watch it unfold. That's even cooler, but that's not necessary, but it is pretty cool when you get to see that happen and you get to see that bite when that barra races out of a tree and smacks a hard body or a soft plastic. So that's another cool option, but I find that in itself is what I use it for most, and the reason being that I like it in that fixed position is that you can spin this 360 degrees. As I showed Moddy when he came up and had a look at the way I've got it set up, if you spin this pole around to the front of the boat and it's stretched out 10, 12 meters, the boat doesn't even come into play. I can't even see that the boat is there. The pole's down, it's beaming forward and 20-degree beam width. So I can see, you know, if there's trees up in front of the boat, out 15, 20 meters, the boat and the hull doesn't impact that at all. So for me, I'm not really getting, when I'm using this in that forward facing motion and it's spinning around and around, I'm not really getting any benefit by being able to move it left and right of the boat. It doesn't give me anything more than what I'm getting out of this. The other thing is, with barra fishing, and predominantly, you know, when you're spot locked or you're tied up and you're casting back at a point or a bay, most of the time, where are you casting from? The rear of the vessel. So, you know, quite often you've got your electric down, or you're tied up to a tree, or you might have an anchor, or however you choose to fish it. But you have this Panoptix pole at the rear of the vessel perfectly. So if you've got your clients, or for instance me, got your clients, or you guys are recreational anglers casting back into those structures, whether it's points or laydowns or whatever, you can move that around left and right and get your cast angle perfectly, and you can see those fish cruising around at real time. The other big advantage of having such a solid mount and this solid pole fixed to the back of the boat is, yes, you still get some variation when the boat's rocking, when it's rough, but having such a solid fixed unit like that, it's not gonna really get impacted by shake. I can see things like if you're gonna have it mounted to the side of the boat, ram mounts and stuff like that, and the pole's gonna move around a bit, I'm pretty almost be certain, and it's, you know, anyone who's done a lot of barra impoundment fishing, particularly in the afternoons, is gonna know, like places like Faust or Woonga are hugely impacted by wind, and it's never flat. And more often than not, if you're fishing in flat water, you probably, most of the time in those afternoons, you're probably in the wrong spot. So that's why I can see this has got great advantages. It is super cool. Like, you can, wherever that beam is facing, you've got that perfect 20 degree, and you can see everything that's going on in that forward facing. So at the moment we're fishing between 1 and 4 meters of water mostly, and I've got a perfect view out 15 meters, and you can see those barra just slide in and out of the beam as they're working around. So it's perfect. You get that cast angle right. What you can also do, and I find it really, really helpful, is when you've got that livescope down and running, if you're rolling plastics around or hard bodies, and you're not quite sure whether you're in that strike zone, if the barra is sitting, you know, just a metre off the bottom, you can quickly adjust your retrieve, so you can adjust slower or faster and get that retrieve happening. And you can also see the reaction of what the fish are doing. So, you know, if you're slow rolling a plastic, and you find the fish are tracking it, but they're just nosing the plastic and they're not really, you know, committing to a bite, then it's quickly to, you can be very quick to adjust your retrieve, and, you know, maybe you've got to work some small hops into the retrieve or speed things up or whatever. You can quickly work out a reaction very, very fast. So, look guys, that's just a little bit more of an update on why I choose this mount. And it's working perfectly for me at the moment. Yeah, as I said, the only adjustment we made is gone 300 mil longer, just for the depth of my boat. The gale force is just a little bit deeper in the transom, and it allows the mount to freely, and this handles such a great little tool, and it's obviously also points to exact direction of where that beam's going. So that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, guys, Justin from Gladstone Fly and Sport Fishing. Fish hard. Hope you smack a few bar. Thanks.